Hello and welcome to another episode of Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. Today I've got a real cutie for you. It's the number 30A Ford Prefect, and I've had this one quite a while. These first came out in 1956, and remember Matchbox Lesney, they only started up in 1953, so this is 3 years in, and it's model number 30. So yeah, it's one of the real early ones actually. And it is tiny. It's a beautiful little thing. It's only 58 millimeters long. Now, I've been putting this off for many months. I keep looking at it, getting it out of the box, putting it back. The reason being is the base is broken, snapped off at the back, and I don't have a spare base. So I was thinking it was going to be too hard to repair, but it is one that I haven't got. So I bit the bullet and took on the challenge and thought, you know what, I'm going to give it my best shot and see what I can do. This particular one is of unknown origin, i.e. that means I don't know where I got it from. It's probably a job lot, maybe a boxed set that somebody sent me of mixed goods. If you recognise it and it's yours, please leave a comment so I can know who made this video possible. So like I said, I put this in the too hard basket. You can see how it's sitting there, because the rear of the base is missing and it's quite free to travel up and down. There's no interior in this model or windscreen. It's a very basic casting, although it does have a fair bit of detail on it nonetheless. And some of them came out with the tail lights painted red, like this one. You can see some traces there of the red paint, but not all of them had the tail lights painted. I guess it was who was on the assembly line that particular day as to whether or not they could be bothered to take the extra time to paint the tail lights red. Now once again, these early models, they had the crimped axles rather than a domed headed end on both ends. So one end of the axle is domed headed and this end is crimped. That's what stops the wheels from falling off. But not only that, the wheels are recessed behind the guards, at the rear especially, so they couldn't fall off anyway, and that's why this is still together even though it's missing part of its base. But just having a look here, there's the pale blue body I was talking about, and they must be rare I guess, because they're selling for a lot more than the standard ones. Now that picture in the book looks like it's white. I can only imagine it's very pale tan, because as far as I know they didn't come out in white. So, looking through my box of bits, there's a lot of broken cars and a lot of random bits lying around. This here is a Vauxhall Cresta base, and I grabbed it because it looks like it could be very similar to the base of this Ford Prefect. The base of this Ford Prefect. So it's going to be quite awkward to do. What I'm going to try and do is cut off the end of the other base and weld it onto the Ford Prefect's base to try and make one complete base. Here's a little detail there. It's a bonnet hood, quite like that. The grille, you know, cars have faces. This one looks quite sad when you look at it from the front. You'll see it in a minute and you'll realise what I'm saying. So yeah, it's quite a sad looking car, and hopefully I can bring a bit of joy into its life today by fixing it up. Now, this colour is going to be a nightmare. I know it is, because I've looked at it so many times in the last hour and I couldn't decide, is it more green, is it more grey, or is it more tan? And it's basically a mixture of all of them. And I don't know what colour to start with. You know, normally you start with a colour and then you add other colours to make it change to look like it you want it to be, but every one of these colours looks like you could start with them. So I'm a little bit stressed at the moment, because I don't know if I can do this, especially now when I open this pot and realise that I've put it back on the shelf and it's all but empty. Now I'm getting a bit worried. I'm looking at this one, Sky. Some of these are flat, some of them are gloss. This is a matte one. Oh dear. Not a lot in there at all, and it's actually gone off in the bottom there. So now I'm look at and all three of these pots, all three of the pots I picked to make the colour are basically empty. Pretty annoyed. I've got all these paints, and do you think I could find another one? Well, that's one there, but it's Mr. Hobby. Don't know how compatible that is with the Tamiya paints. I think I might have mixed them together once before. Anyway, I'm going to have a look, see what I can come up with. And would you believe it? God, I need a good telling off. All these pots of paint just sitting there looking good, and I'm thinking I've got every colour under the sun, and of course I haven't. Even that one, look at that. No good, all in the bin, all in the bin. Oh, I'm looking again. There's one up there that I missed before. There's something down there that looks similar. Let's have a look. I must make a list of paints. I'm beginning to run out. It's because I don't live near the hobby shop that I used to go to. I'd go there every weekend and get one pot here, one pot there. Now I live hundreds of kilometres away. You can order them online, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. So I'm starting off with this light green, and when you put the light green on a car that you think is light green, all of a sudden it doesn't look light green, if you know what I'm saying. It doesn't matter that I'm using XF, that's F means flat, so it's like a matte paint. It doesn't matter because I'm going to coat it with some Tamiya varnish afterwards, so I don't care if it's not gloss or if it's matte. I end up adding a tad of yellow to the green and a little bit of tan, and this is what I came up with. And I think it's fairly close. As I said before, according to the literature I've read, they did come in a variety of shades, and probably Matchbox were experimenting with different colours at the time because they were still new, relatively new. And I guess nobody cared. They just wanted a toy car to play with. So I'm stripping off the paint of both bases. And the idea is, as I said before, I'm going to chop this one up, cut the end off of it with the tow hook. And that's another thing I didn't mention. This model came with a tow hook. At the time, I don't know if there was any models, I didn't check, that actually required, like a caravan or something, or a trailer. But maybe they put it on there to future-proof the model with the intent of bringing out a trailer or something for it. But yeah, because this base was broken at the back, there's no tow point, so I'm going to have to manufacture one of those as well somehow. So all a little bit tricky. That's why it's taken me so long to do this one. I've probably had it for years. But yeah, always thought, no, I couldn't be bothered. Too much time and effort involved, but today's the day. I've had a bit of a move around in my hobby room, and I've taken my Ryobi rechargeable or battery powered Dremel off the toolboard, and I'm reverting to this. Is that the term? I've gone backwards here. I'm using this plug-in one that I had from my old house. It works well. And actually, you've got a little bit more freedom of movement because the battery-powered one was attached via a sort of a spring link, like a spiral spring link that spun. So you were limited with the amount of movement on it. So I've just buffed this up. Now it's time to undercoat it. Here we go. Doesn't that look beautiful? Once again, it's a favourite part of the makeover for me, because you can suddenly see, there's that sad face, you can see all of the detail in detail. You can see all the detail in detail. It looks beautiful. I didn't notice before there's a little fuel cap on the back as well. Something for me to highlight at the end, maybe, just to put my own personal touch on it. I'll probably touch that up with a little bit of chrome, I'm guessing. I'm going to do the hood ornament as well. I'm sort of planning ahead, thinking this is going to look great. Such a small thing though. So insignificant in the world of things. You know, the great big world of things. It's nothing. You could throw this away, stamp it into the ground, whatever. No one would miss it. But I need it. I need it because I want one of every 1 to 75 scale model, and I don't have this one. So I'm just checking for a suitable place to rest this when I paint it, so that there's no runs. I try to keep it horizontal and limit any runs that might come on the roof if it's like tilted forwards or backwards. So if I undo this, does not seem to be performing as it should. I'm thinking, is there pressure in the hose? And there is. So that narrows it down. I mean, I cleaned it. I'm pretty sure I cleaned it last time I used it. Seems like there's a blockage in here somewhere. This is the first time this has happened. I'm normally pretty regimental with my cleaning method at the end of each makeover I do. Looking in there, it doesn't look too bad. There's no paint in the pot. Thinking maybe this tiny little nozzle with, I don't know how many microns the aperture is on the end, but I guess it would be easy to bung up. I'm thinking that might be bunged up. So I've just opened up, I've got the old airbrush here that I used to use, and it's in the new box of this one that I've had for probably more than 5 years anyway. And I think this is the first time I've removed the tip, and I'm taking it out to see if it's bunged up. Maybe there's paint flake in there preventing the air from flowing, which, I mean, look at the size of that thing. How do they manufacture these? That's a bit of a mystery. There's a hole in there that they've drilled out, and it's not blocked. So now I'm thinking, what else can it be? There's really not a lot of parts to this. You've got the needle and the aperture, and that's the button that allows the air to flow, and then as you pull it back, it allows the paint to flow as the needle's withdrawn. It's a dual action airbrush, they call it. Oh, I'll try again. Very odd. I couldn't find anything wrong. And so, second time round, it actually works. So I'm not too sure what happened there, but it's working now. That's the main thing. And I love these old colours. They just bring back memories of the olden days, like cars with this colour, really boring colours like drab, dingy, like a rainy day on a Sunday, rainy Sunday in England. Those sort of colours. Anyway, whilst that's drying, I thought I might take the opportunity to have a look at one of these modern Matchbox cars, another one that I bought at the shops the other day. This one is the Garbage King, is it? Looking at this one I did the other day, opened the other day, it's number 29 of 125. Now, I didn't notice that before, but there's a number up there. So this is 99 of a series of 125 cars. I don't think I'm going to end up with 125 of them, but I do buy them from time to time just to sort of, out of curiosity more than anything, to see what quality build they are. What sort of quality the build is. So having a look at this, it does have a metal cab and metal axles, but just about everything else is plastic. Looking at these decals straight off the bat, it says Matchbox City, and the letters are kind of blending into the border, and you can hardly read the word city. It's kind of really messed up decals. I'm flicking this, and you can hear it all sounds plasticky. And I'm thinking a garbage truck would probably have some kind of movement on the toy. And I looked at this and I thought, oh, that bin must probably fold up or down to simulate collecting garbage as a kid plays with it. But no, it's fixed in there and doesn't move at all. So that was a little bit disappointing. The base is plastic also. The only metal in this seems to be the rivets. In fact, actually no, the back rivet is plastic. The front rivet is metal. Yeah, just looking at them there. So that's part of the burgundy plastic section, that rear rivet. They run well, like Hot Wheels, and you know, pretty free turning wheels. But the detail on it just doesn't really look good. I mean, it does to the casual observer, but when you're looking at them up close, there's two fuel tanks there. And the interior of the interior of the cabin is well, a bit of a mystery. The steering wheel is actually embedded into the dashboard, and it's in. You can't turn it. It looks like it's been in a head-on collision, and somebody's pushed the steering wheel into the dash. So this Matchbox one is plenty of metal in it. It's 50 grams. Now this is a later version Matchbox model. It's got a lot of plastic on it, but this one's still 51 grams. So it's even heavier. Let's try this new one. It's 30 grams. So very cheap and light and not a lot of metal in it at all. So a bit of a shame really, but that's the way things have gone. Everybody's penny pinching these days, and they're not producing quality toys. I'm sure this one won't last 50 years like the one that I'm working on will, or has. Nevertheless, I hope you found that interesting. I'll show you another one sometime in the future, no doubt. I've got a couple more on the shelf. Anyway, back to the Ford Prefect. It's a strange word, prefect, isn't it? I keep thinking it's perfect. It's definitely not perfect. So I'm putting on that cutting disc, and I've got to cut the sacrificial base. Here's one that I practiced on with some muggy weld. So I've kind of simulated what I'm going to do, and I left the muggy weld on a little bit too long in the heat, and it blobbed. So I'm going to try and go really quick on this one. So before I've cut this, I've drilled a hole out of the plate for the trailer hitch. I figured if I tried drilling it out after I had welded it together, I ran the risk of breaking the weld, and I'd be back to square one again. Now I'm chasing this thing across the bench there. Seems to want to get away. It doesn't want to be cut up, but there we go. I tried to get it on the line I marked. Better too much left than not enough. There was just enough there. I ground it down, filed it flat, and this is a test fit, but the corners don't go in to the body. So I'm just going to take the corners off with this is the cutting tool, but I use it as a grinding disc as well sometimes. So I've just taken the corners off, and now it actually sits in there better than what I thought it would. Now I didn't have any footage of me welding it, but trust me, I just heated this up. I had plenty of flux in the gap, and I just touched it with the muggy weld, and it flowed just like water into the crack, and I immediately stopped heating it. And it goes hard almost instantly. So that was a win. Now for the tow hook, I'm looking at this. I want it to be the size of this drill, and I always get this plastic kit out because I'm too lazy to build it. I've been robbing bits from it for many years. I'm looking here, there's a bit there, number 25 and 26, that I think I can cut out and use as a tow hitch by sticking it and gluing it in the hole. And actually, just looking at that, there's the aerials next to that. I could have used those on the police car I made the other day. Didn't think about that. They're probably the wrong scale anyway. So these are some spare axles. I've cut the old axles off and I've got to put these new ones on. They're actually not new, but they look new. They're not bad actually, and I'm just experimenting with crimping the ends using the vice grips. Now I put a lot of pressure on that and it didn't really deform much. Now I think I've tried this trick once before. If I heat it up with my blowtorch, it softens the metal. I think it's called annealing, A-N-N-E-A-L-ing, and it's a method that people that work with metal use to soften the metal, to make it malleable so they can do things with it. So what I've done there is I've heated this up, and you're supposed to let it cool off at room temperature. I don't know whether I heated it up enough. I'm squeezing like hell again. Well, it did actually deform. Not particularly neat. I think this might have been a bit of a bung axle in the first place. The end was a bit messed up, so it looks a little bit messed up. Now I'll go again. This is just an experiment, remember? And I try a few things, and in the end I get this perfect crimp, and I'm thinking I'm happy with that. That's going to work wonders. If I can get the pliers in there to do that after I put the wheels on, then it's going to be a win. So here you go, I've got the base back on. I didn't have to do much with the rivet there because I assembled the base around the rivet. I haven't drilled the rivet out, so I didn't have to reform it either. So it's the original rivet. Now these were a little bit dull. I've given them a coat of paint so I'm in the right place when I put them in. I want them to look good after all at the end of the day. Didn't want to put rusty axles in there. And I've crushed that one up, and I must admit, looks a bit dodgy. Not as good as Matchbox did. But I'm going to clean it up with that little Dremel and try and make it look very similar to an original crimped end. One thing's good though, the axles are retained and they're not going to get lost, so the wheels won't fall off. Now this was nerve-wracking because if I made a mistake or something jammed and flicked the car down or the Dremel up, it would damage the car, obviously. So I was very, very nervous doing this, and I took a lot of time doing it. Okay, it's time to touch up the paint. Paint in all of the details. And for this, I'm using this chrome ink or paint. It's like ink, it flows like ink. And for the headlights, they're so tall, they are so small, they're like pinheads. I'm cutting off the end of this cocktail stick and I'm just grinding it down, sanding it down with a bit of sandpaper. And I'm hoping that's about roughly the right size of the headlight lens. I'm just dipping it in the chrome paint. I've got one shot at this, and I tell you what, I can't even see what I'm doing. It's that small. I think I've had another win there. That seemed to work okay. I've got to paint the grille in. Some of these didn't come with they came with the headlights and the grills painted silver. Sometimes the front bumper bar was painted silver also. So I'm going to paint the bumper bar as well, just to make it look extra special. And I'm also going to touch up the hood ornament and the fuel cap. And I'm just trying to replicate those tail lights where it looked like somebody just did exactly this, just dabbed on a little bit of red on the back. Not too much fussing around. And that's the end of the makeover, really. So let's have a reminder of what we started with at the beginning of this video. This thing wasn't sitting too well. It looks like the rear suspension's gone. A lot of scratches on it. Unless you looked at it, you wouldn't know that the base was broken. That's the reason why it was sitting like that. Anyway, fixed the base, give it a new coat of paint, and added some extra special detailing with the chrome ink, and I think you'll agree it looks absolutely superb. I love it. It is so tiny and so small and cute, and it's one that I don't have, and I can't wait to stick it in the cupboard with all of the others of this era, because this was Matchbox's golden age, and I think it's important to keep these little cars alive for future generations to enjoy. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Marty's Matchbox Makeovers, and if you have, remember, please like and subscribe and recommend to your friends. And until next time, this is Marty from Marty's Matchbox Makeovers saying thank you for watching and goodbye.